Hey everybody. Sorry I'm a bit late, but glad I'm here. I hope everyone's having a good Friday. Let's just get right to it. We'll be doing game dev right now. And right now we're working on having players connect to the server, but I was trying to figure out how the server would know, or like how the server would identify a connection to the rest of the players. So basically the server needs to have some kind of ID. And I think how it will do that is the host player will actually provide that for the server. We kind of started on it, but now I'm pretty sure I know exactly how to do it. So we don't want that, we want this. So every connection will have, of course, a connection ID and the player password for that connection. And it'll also have a certain player ID. And you know how in lobbies for multiplayer games, the host can basically choose like a slot that's open to other players, and so that's what we'll do here. The host will let the server know which slots are open and which are taken by AIs, for example, and the server will then be able to just dispense an ID for every new connection that connects to it. I guess if we really wanted to down the line, we could have a way for the host to reorder players, but it's not really that big of a deal. Also, I think we're just going to make it so that the AIs are always going to be handled by the host, so the server doesn't really need to worry about them at all. And also, we can't always assume that the host is player ID 0, because say for example you save a game and then you return to it, but a different player hosts the game, so then that player ID would then be the new host. So I kind of want to let the game handle that, or support that use case. So I don't think it'll be that difficult to do, but instead of, so I'm going to rename this from player because the player is a little confusing because we use it like an AI as a player. So this will actually be more like what should we call it? I guess client makes sense. Okay. And should probably get data for connection, and then we should probably change this to is valid connection. Maybe not necessarily that's valid, but is validated. I guess that's about the same, isn't it? But okay, so now on the connection validator, I'll handle this a little different. Right now, if the player is the host, we just like automatically accept their password. Well, I guess we can still do that. Yeah, so when would Basically, a player would set their client password when they first validate the server, so yeah, when they first connect to the server, so yeah, we can handle that. Okay, so let's have public. So how I think I'll actually do this is, before I went back and forth about letting the server game have certain connections to the rest of the game, I think I will let that happen, because rather than sending like these weird messages to the server from the host to set the password and things like that, I mean, there's really no reason to do that. We might as well just use our more, what's the word? Instead of going through the pseudo network system, we can just use our own messages. Okay, so server game. So I wonder, probably what I'll do, so this, I'll make another connection, which will be host communications or something, or component registry, I mean. That's one way to do it, or I could just set them in the global. Doesn't really make much difference now that I think about it. So really what we want is some way that we can send or set the password on the server. So we'll need to store it here. Okay, so let's say server config. So we'd have password, so I guess we need to decide what do we want to have in the server configuration and what do we want to have in the connections. I'm actually thinking that the server connections maybe should just be connections that are actually set, and so we'd put the client or maybe the client ID would still be in here, but things like the client password and this password set would actually be in the server config. Yeah, I think that's how we'll do it. Okay, so here we'll have private bool password set and private and password. And then I guess should have an enumeration here. Client slot would be either none, open, taken, or AI. Okay, so here we have the password and then a list of clients. Oh, forgot the list here. I'm going to make a static creator. Okay, so then what we'll want to do so I guess when in the lobby the host would join and this client would automatically get populated with, they would be client 1 or client 0. And then maybe we create, I don't know, however many players we want to have. And then the host would be able to change the client slot state. And then when a new connection tries to join, the server would just assign them their client ID. Okay, so we don't need this here. We still want the connection state. Well, actually, if the connection... Yes, let's see. If the connection is lost, then yeah, there's no reason to keep that class, so don't actually need that. So yeah, instead we would just remove that connection class. But that information would stay in the server config, and then when somebody reconnected, they try to reconnect as the same client. And that's when we check for their password and things. Okay, and I guess we'd also want to set all these password flags. Let's actually change this like password log. Oh no, so that's fine, I guess. But it's just when the game is actually entered, we'd want to make sure we'd set all these password sets to true so that some random person couldn't come in and set and erase over the password. Okay. Yeah, that will work well. So what I need to do now is here I just need to add that components. Okay, so what does this class have in it? It's a host. Okay, yeah, so do need this, but I will rename this to client password, and then I'll also need the client ID. Okay, so we want to add server config. And then the server game, we would do something like this again, except it's not how you spell server. We just kind of copy it like this. I guess we can just get our register. Yeah, that works okay. Just to be safe. Yeah, so that way I don't actually have to muddy this up like that. Okay, so now both the server and the normal game have access to this server config, which is okay. Because even like if somebody's not the host and they try to set this, it doesn't really matter because no one's going to be trying to connect to them. Okay, so now let's try and set. I don't need to do this, I need this part. Okay, so one thing I want to try and do is have the server treat the host especially as little as possible. So that's just going to help not have as many. Okay, so now the connection will actually be, well, the connection should never exist because we're going to just delete the connection whenever they get locked, whenever they disconnect. Okay, so let's add something new here. So we'll just and then we want, I guess the client ID we won't know yet. We can rename this. So, okay. So yeah, we don't really need this temporary IDs anymore, which is nice. So message is not equal null, and we want to make sure that the connections doesn't not already have a validated connection for this connection ID. Okay, so we can get rid of that. Okay, so yeah, we actually don't want to create a new one just yet, because we have to make sure that their password and everything matches. So if message password, oh, we need to get the server config. Alright. Okay, so if password equals the config password. Oh, I need to create getters and things like that. Okay, so public int, oh no, it's a client get for ID. We should test more for that, but so that's the first thing. Oops. Forgot the opening curly brace, so it's being a little weird there. Okay, so password. Well, I guess we should also make sure that the wanted phase is good. Let's do it the other way around. Message phase equals wanted phase. So if this is true, that means we need to look at the client ID and try and match the password. Oh, got a little wrong. There we go. It's config.get for ID. Okay, well, we actually might not know this because the message might not contain an ID. Okay, so how should I do this? So we have this next player ID, but we won't actually use it like that. So get client so if the ID is negative, that means that the validation doesn't know its client ID, which means it's connecting in the lobby. So we want to find an open ID. So int I could like expose the list, but I'm feeling it might be smart to do it like this for now. Okay, we already have this. So for int I equals 0, I less than config num clients. So if, okay, let's do this. And if client dots. Alright. I need to open these up. So if client.state equals open, then we'd return this client. Otherwise we'll return null, which means that there's no clients open for this ID. And if the ID is not negative, that means that that this connection is trying to connect for a specific client. Which means, okay, so I actually do it this way. Else if ID is less than config num clients, and then lastly, this means that the ID is greater than the number of clients that we have available. So we'll just return null. Okay, another thing we need to do actually is make sure that there's no other connection that is trying to access this client. Okay, so I guess okay, let's change this. Right, so client pass, client ID. I'll make another function up here, which would be private bool client has connection. And really all we have to do is call, now I think about it, we already have this in here, so okay, so what we have to do here is if message client ID is less than 0 or not client has connection. And we can do here, and then now we have to make sure if client does not equal null. Okay, so if we get this far, all we have to do is check that the passwords have not been set. So if client, okay, so either not password set, I guess I can probably merge these together now that I think about it. The password has not been set, or the client password equals the password given in the message. Okay, so at this point we can do that and then also set client. We don't need to. It's actually the connection. And then the connection dot client ID. Okay, so yeah, we actually need to know the ID here. So I guess we'll just have this return and int. so now I actually have to separate this out now. So if client ID is greater than or equal to 0, so if, do this next, then server config client equals so this is config get client. So let me check this part, and now we can finally set this connection. In fact, why don't we just do this? Because I guess we'd never create a connection unless we knew its client ID. Alright. So none of all this stuff anymore. And I guess we need to set accept to true. Okay, so yeah, this is still good. But we don't have to do that anymore. So I guess probably we will send the client ID back with this. We don't have to do this because now this is the only time it would be accepted. So we can move this up here. Okay, and yeah, we do need to send false actually. Okay, so let's actually do it like this, I think. And we can move this out. So send, that's not what I wanted to send, result message to the connection ID, true, and client ID. Okay, so we will need the bool here because there's a bunch of else statements, and basically if we don't get all the way down here, we'll want to send. That's not how you spell false. So if not accepted, then send result message, connection ID, false, and then -1. Alright. So the only other thing I want to do is here in the connections watcher, so we'll have to change how we do this all connected now. And also when somebody gets disconnected, they'll need to be removed. Okay, so let's do this. list, remove. Okay, so actually what we want to do. Move at I, and then we can break. Okay, so I think this is all good. Alright, so now all I have to do is connections.remove connection ID, because it got disconnected. Yeah, I guess we'll still need to send this on state change. So how will we know? Well, I guess if everyone is connected. So what we actually have to do is private server config. I'm just gonna grab this. So we have to look through the server config and make sure that every client has one connection. So for int I equals 0. There's probably a more, well, there's definitely a more efficient way to do this, but it's not like this will be happening all the time. And then if connection get data for client I does not equal null. Okay, so actually how we want to do it is if it equals null, then that means all connected is false. That means we don't have one connection for that client, so it's easy to see. Okay, so actually this on-state change is for the connection ID. So actually, what we actually want to have is like it should be for the client ID. That changed. Okay, so what am I looking for? Let's see where this is called. So we actually want to send a client ID here. And then on disconnect, we'll just get the connection before we remove it. can just return here. Okay. So if C does not equal null and C dot client, I guess the client ID is always known now, so but I guess we should still check to make sure that C does not equal null in case something weird happens. So now this is actually for the client ID. Okay, there we go. So I think that's all set up now. So obviously the thing we need to do is somehow create this server config. And I think right now, since we're just debugging and we're not in the lobby, I'll just create it real quick in the play subcontroller. Maybe even here. Let's make a different function. Equals components register. So global components. Okay. So right now we can't set a client, but so we'll have the password be, I don't know, just 1, so it's not the default. Okay, so let's probably we don't never want to just add or remove clients. We'd probably just always want to set a certain number. Or maybe, I don't know. Like the slot can be none, I guess, if it's going to stay unused. So really all we have to do or let's say clients size so yeah, this is if the client's list needs to have more created. And here if we need to remove some. Actually, well, this will work fine. Oh, except the count will change, won't it? Yes, we can do it this way. Oh, why did it do that? And then while clients, okay, so is greater than oh, we can actually do a remove range, so that's a little easier. So maybe, so num is, our client's count is larger, so it's count minus num. So this would be, so let's say there's 8 and we want to set it to 6, so okay, so this would actually start at num. And then we remove 2. Okay, so that's good. And then we can just get the client to set everything else. So we'll just have 2. So good. Client, server config, client 1 equals okay, so what we want to do is I'll give it password as 1 and password set. And the state will be taken. And then we'll have client 2 just be open. One other thing we should do, so client slot slate right now has a separate AI, but I don't think that's actually needed. Okay, so let's see. So we also need to make sure that the state is not none, because it needs to be open. So if client.state is not equal none, because that means that it's probably reserved for an AI. Alright. Okay, so I guess let's see what happens. Alright. Component key at client validation requester. Let's see that. Oops, that was the wrong thing. Let's clean this up. Getting to be too many things up there. 23, or what was the... It was 25. Okay, well I can just use get a register, I don't know. Okay, for some reason I didn't create this, so... So actually it will, it's actually not going to let me, so I'm going to take this out. Yeah, it actually won't let me connect, I think, because the password is going to be wrong. But that's okay, I'll fix that. That's actually a good way to see if everything's working okay. Yeah, false because the password is 0. Okay, so what I need to do, before I do that, where's, I guess I don't need this temp ID anymore. Where is the class that, here, the connection watcher. I want to register to this state so that we can get debug logs when it changes. Let's just copy and paste that from somewhere. So client connection. Alright. So now if we go here, it should, the connection state should go to refused. Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. It automatically goes to seeking. Why is that? Oh, I guess because the Unity Link on stop client. Why is that call on start? Maybe I messed up there. Okay, so on start, let's see. Okay, so I accidentally called this twice. Okay, yeah, so this should be stop. I'm glad I caught that. Okay. Okay, so now let's fix it.
I might see you in the corner, I might see you in the back, I might see you in the parking lot, you'd never see me back. I'm like a rap ghoul scaring beats with bass runs and face fools with the rhyme meat like A1. Steakhouse to catch
We'll need the local connection.
On the TV. Here's a freebie, collectible CD, drool on your face, doggy kibble on your chinny chin chin. Yo, I'm in it to win. Well, I'm not.
And all we have to do is set the password to 1. And somewhere we'll need to cache our client ID and things.
You was on the track, but I heard you wasn't coming back. Where'd you go, man? You was supposed to bring it back. Set it up like it was limitless attack.
Okay,
Now,
yeah, so
only
now
go, go,
it
like
validated us because we had the right password.
socket to the antelopes and banner notes like piano notes detailing all your anecdotes. Ha, yo, you running like a cantaloupe, eloping with your bitch like I was packing a torpedo bun.
Except it shouldn't have let us because we didn't set the client password to 1. Okay, so that's... Yeah, the client password, let's see here. Yeah, 1, 0. Interesting, yeah, we knew the client ID is 0, but I actually forgot to set that.
Yo, I make a
It
move
worked
to
out
the
okay.
left, a move to the right. I'll be moving all night 'cause I work like Enzyte. That's right, I'm all up in your game. You must be ashamed 'cause I stole your name. Can't play the game, you can't tame the main. You
Okay,
can't
so let's
make
look,
it rain.
why did it
I can't complain.
let us
Serving
go
you with
through?
dishes, 5-course dishes. Polish up your mug until I get 3 wishes. Adjusting your teeth, aligning your feet. Bicycle scars, then I rinse and repeat. Bruising daily like Matt Maley. Power glove smack, you extinct like Paley.
Here, that's what I was looking for. Validator. Password. So that looks good. And the client password is supposed to equal this message password, but okay, so let's do a little debugging here. Debug log client ID. Let's see what this prints out. Although I guess we know it's 0 because we gave the client ID a 0 right there. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Debug log client.password set. Okay, we can do that. Oh, it's because I put this OR right there. Why did I do that? Because I'm pretty sure I even said and, because anyway, yeah, because we want this to not be none and for the passwords to match. So we don't need that anymore. Yeah, so now it's false because our client password does not match. So if we set it to 1, which would match right here, then it should let us in. Okay. That's good. But now, in order to create a second player, we need to have some way to set these fields. So we could make a little interface. That'd probably be the easiest way to do it. Yeah, because I was thinking that we could have like a flag. Or if we didn't want to do an interface, we could have it read from a file. Okay, let's just... we can probably do a quick and dirty one. this event system. So all I want to do is create a way for us to set password, the client password, and the client ID. So really we just need a bunch of text fields. So this would be password field. Let's do it like this actually. Okay, and was rect transform. Okay. So I guess this. I wish that we could somehow append to the end of here. I don't know if there's any easy way to do that. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it has this placeholder text. So let's call this password. This will be the client pass field, and then client ID field. Okay, so there's ways to. Okay, so what? I guess we'll just call this client config test. Forget what they call it. There's a way that you can like have it automatically. Like lay out the objects. I'm surprised it's not under UI. Okay, so layout. Yeah, so we want a vertical layout group. Okay, so why is... I guess that's normal. Okay, that's better. Okay, so now we can type. Can't type down here? Huh, why is it not letting me click there? I wonder. Is it not interactable? No, it's right here. Why is it doing that? I wonder. had a problem with it before. Let's try and create another text field right. Stick it in the middle of the screen. Okay, so something is not letting me click. Is it this? So I delete that. Okay, no, it doesn't make any difference. Let me look online real quick. Unity input field not responding to mouse. Is coming up. Did I do something stupid? I don't know. I need to set them to be on the UI layer? Oh, they already are. Okay, so let's create a new scene and just make sure that it's not something in this scene that's messing it up. Okay. I guess I'm glad I found that, but it's kind of annoying. So what's different? Maybe I don't have this GUI layer on the camera. Sometimes I do delete that. Save. Oh no, it's still there. Let's just delete one thing at a time. Okay, so the camera's not doing it. Okay. So is it this then? Really? I'm really confused here. What am I doing wrong? The direction of the camera shouldn't affect anything. In fact, I can probably remove those. I think the canvas is like not attached to the camera. Maybe let's just restart Unity. I hate bugs like this, I'm really sorry. I wanted to get back to doing what we were doing, but I really have no idea what might be causing this. See, it's not letting me click. I don't understand why. Or is it letting me? No. It doesn't even update it. Oh. I guess you can't fool it like that. Maybe just even having this HUD on here messes it up, so let's remove that. But wait, I had that on Moddable Chess, we did use the HUD. Maybe it really needs that event system. Is that it? Okay, I guess that was it. At least we learned something new. I thought I deleted it before, but that's kind of cool. I've never messed with that before. Hopefully it does make a simpler script, but okay, so what we need to do is just have a test script. Okay, so now I can't click, right? That whenever... Actually, we don't really even need to store... Well, no, we do. Whenever this changes, we need to store that information in the local connection, so... So, what should this be called? I guess local connection GUI. Okay, and I'll just make it a mono behavior to make things easy. And I guess maybe we can try out those easy event hooks. So on client ID change, and then I want to have one for the client password as well as server password. Okay. Oh. Okay, so let's add this. Okay, so we do that, and it would be so yeah, this is kind of nice, but I guess they have to be a public function. Oh, they are public, so why is it not letting me do it? Oh, here. Oh, I see what this means. Okay, so this means that you'd send a string as an argument. Here there's just a simple parameter. Okay, that was kind of confusing at first. Alright, so okay, we're actually in the client password, so client ID. Okay. So private local connection. So we get local C equals game link, game components get let's copy and paste that. Global components. Oops. Oh, what did I just do? That is global comps. I think I created, yeah, a dummy method there. I didn't need to. Alright, that's what I was looking for. So local C. Oh, but we actually we need to get the value. Maybe that's what it meant by a dynamic string argument. Client A equals int parse value. Actually do don't get errors. Okay. Is everything still happy? Oh yeah, it doesn't like it. Because I changed the signature, I think. It's kinda nice. I don't know if this is easier than just doing it the old-fashioned way, but it's client password. Okay, so let's see if that worked. Alright, and now if I set it to something bad, will it not accept? Failed to find local connection to invoke handler. Okay, so I think what that means oops, what just happened? So I think that means that the server handler didn't stay. So if you remember from a while ago, I had to keep this dictionary of cached client handlers for every time the client starts and stops, and I guess you do have to do that for the network, I mean for the server as well, which is, I guess it kind of makes sense, I don't know. So this will be cached client handlers, and then we'll have server handlers. Oops. Okay, I bet it looks like it renamed the wrong thing, so come on. So all I have to do is basically do the same thing I do here, except for the server. So client register handler. Where's the server register handler? Oh, right here. So how do I know if the server is connected? I guess maybe there's a way to do it. If network server active. Okay. So just gotta add that, and then we have to make this setup client handlers except for the server. pretty easy. Why does it do that? I guess it was to make sure that it got the static version, I don't know. Cached server handlers. Okay, so when does the client do this? Right there, on start client, so we'd want to do on start server. Okay, so let's just see if nothing horrible happens. Let's stop and host again. Okay, so yeah, we did fix that bug. We just had to re-register all the handlers. Alright, so all good. So I guess we don't need to set this after all. So 1, 1, 0. Oops. Oops, I didn't mean to stop it. That's interesting. So if I say 2, oh, so it actually accepted me. Oh, the client ID was 0. Why? I put it set to 2 right there. I guess I didn't. Something right here is not working. On client ID change. So that seems to be good. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, I never set the client ID here. Oh, hey Storm, I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Finally fixed some bugs that have been causing problems. Okay, yeah, so it refused because I tried to join as client ID 0 or 9, which doesn't exist. Same thing with there. But if I join as client ID 0, it should let me go. It still didn't. Maybe that's because it's not resetting after a failure. Who what? Okay, so there, let me go in. So it refused me, but I think if I stop and change this to 0, it'll still refuse me. And oh no, it did let me through. Okay. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Ricardo. I hope you're doing pretty good today. Alright, so let's test one more thing. Actually, will let me rejoin there? Yeah, no, because it says I still validated. That actually shouldn't happen, because when I... Oh, because the whole server stopped. Okay. We can deal with that. Alright, good to hear. Okay, so now if we join as a new player, it should give us client ID 1. Yeah, which it does. So I guess we can... might as well set that client ID here. Or only if the message is accepted. Oh yeah, I bet you're just tired. It's pretty late for you. Oh no, I don't think so. So at least I hope not. Alright, so what else? Okay, so I guess let's test, deal with the server closing all the way. Which would be on stop, and here we just clear all the connections basically. Okay, so list clear. That's all I got to do really. No reason to send anything here. Oh yeah, Ricardo, I don't really want to talk about politics. It's a touchy subject and I'd rather not get into the drama. Okay, so let's see what if it lets me reconnect now. Oops, I did it backwards. Okay, and then when I stop, it should let me rejoin again. Which it does, good. So I wonder what happens if I try to rejoin again now. Okay, it does. Is that right? Yeah, I guess it is because I set the password to 0. But then if I tried to join again... Well, actually, no, that shouldn't work. Because that slot should not be free anymore. How's the game going so far? Not too bad. Just trying to finish up all this server stuff. Finally getting a handle on it. Okay, so do I ever set it? Maybe it's because I never set it to taken. Which I guess, should the server do that? Yeah, I guess it should if it validates somebody. Where did it do that? Okay, so client state be taken now. Okay. So now if I try to join as a new player, it will give me the client ID 1. And yeah, it lets me through. But if I try to rejoin, yeah, it won't let me through because the client IDs have already been taken. Although it should have actually let me go through because the client ID is still 1. That's not what I wanted to test. My server is the most difficult thing to do? Well, yeah. I think in this game it probably will be. And also, you just need to do it right at the beginning because pretty much all the rest of the code depends on it. Okay, so why does it not let me join again? Let's see here. Let's make it a little bit better. Debugging here, maybe. Okay, so if we fail here, debug. Oh, it does let me just do that. Debug log. It's a validation fail. Invalid message or connection ID already validated. And then next, oops. So it's a password or phase mismatch. It'll be more descriptive, but then right here it's so if client is less than 0. Okay, so what this would be is client already associated with a connection. This is basically no slots open. No open clients or bad client ID passed. And then the last would be if the client password is not good. Password mismatch or client reserved for AI. Okay. So let's see. Using that, hopefully it'll tell us why it's not accepting us into the to reconnect. So yeah, this time it worked and it gave us client ID 1. So if we stop and rejoin, client password mismatch. Okay. Oh, it's because I'm saying just the message password, not the client password. Okay. Let's try this again then. Okay, so that's good. And now we'll try to connect as client number 1. Right, and it does let us through, and now I'll change the password should, yeah, mismatch. Oops. Okay, so the password, that time it's just the main password. Okay, and it did let me through there. But then if I try to join as some other player, yeah, it won't let me. And if I try to join as another new player, I think it would refuse me as well. Let's try and join as a host now. Oh yeah, we had to have password 1. Okay, there we go. Cool, I think everything is working as intended. So now we need to have the game logic hook into all this, and so it will know when to actually start a turn when everybody is connected. Okay, so we got probably enough time to do some work on that. Okay, so where should I start? Okay, so we have the connection manager. I guess this is. Okay, so this is the connection phase for the end game, as opposed to the phase for the actual client itself. We still actually need to subscribe to that. So let's actually rename this to the play connection phase so we don't get confused. Game components, get, or, oh no, we can't register this, so. Oh, that's not what it's called. What is it? Oh, we have it right here. Client connection watcher. Global components. Okay. What's it complaining about? Oh, I want to actually just get the state machine from this. And then I need to subscribe. So on client connection change. Okay, so basically how we'd want to do it. So if you're the host, then you need to be connected to all players. And if you're just a client, then you only need to be connected to the host. But you'd actually a little more complicated than that, because the host would also send us messages to stop our start playing if anybody got disconnected. So let's see, where do I handle that right here. So we have this message that gets sent out. Do I have any handlers? Okay, no, I'm surprised it didn't throw an error there, to be honest. So I should really create some object. So this is I guess connection message broadcaster, and it just basically listens for that message from the server and sends out a beluga message about it. So on connection change. Oh, this is outside of the class. Okay, and this will be just a top level object that's not in any controller, because it will pretty much run the whole game. So game. So on connection change equals components get or register. Global comps. So we have this. This is just for us, so let's say on change. Could be a little confusing. So let's see, we have this. This is just like for our connection watcher, so maybe I should change it to that. Okay, so that makes it obvious that it's only our connection, whereas this other client message broadcaster is for any client. And here we can just probably just rename this to the validation requester. Okay, so we'll have Unity link register client handler, and this is the server connection change. Okay, so on connection message, and the server sends out a connection change message. So if message does not equal null. Okay, so we'll need some other object here to tell us which clients are connected. I guess technically it could go in the player objects maybe. Probably not a good idea. maybe, so we have the server config. Maybe we should just make this the local config. No, because that wouldn't be stored here, because it's like... That's something like this, so client info. So we'd have bool connected, which we'd only know if it's connected or not, and then we'll have let's see. What was I thinking? Oh yeah, the player index. In fact, I think it's time that we created, a new namespace. Really? Okay, well, I wish it would show empty folders in here. Because now I have to go out to Unity and create a dummy script in here so it'll actually show up in Visual Studio. Alright, so messages stay here, but things like this are only on the client, so the server doesn't need to know about them. Okay, so now I can get rid of that. Oh, I'm pretty sure we won't need this script anymore, but I'll leave it in case. Okay, so let's see if anything's complaining now that I did all that. Okay. And then also no, I'm gonna need that broadcaster, so I'll do that while I'm here. Anything else? Okay, good. And one other thing I'll do, I'll just finish this. So I guess that's about all I need. This will be almost a whole lot like the server config. static. Except, it'll basically just hold all the information we know about other clients. Which I think this is about all we need to know, really. Okay, so let's see.
This is someone's idea of a practical joke, right?
Captain, what should we do? Arm every sig for deployment. Initiate launch sequence. Open the pod bay doors. Justice shall be served.
There we go. Oops. Okay, and so at this point... Oh, actually I have to go. I already went a little over. But really here we'd update the connected status of the client, and if it's some client we don't know about, we would add it into the client info. And then we'd send out, we'd call this connection change so that other scripts would know about it. Alright, but anyway, we'll do that tomorrow. Let me just write myself a note. Update connected status. Add client if it's a new one. And then call message. Alright, well thanks everybody for coming by and watching. I hope you all have a good rest of your day or night. And I'll be back. Oh, actually I don't know when. I do want to stream some Ludum Dare games sometime during the weekend, but I'm not sure when or how long, so it's the only bad thing for me about the weekend is that I don't have a set schedule, but I guess be sure to subscribe and then you'll know when I go live, and also I'll tweet about it. So alright, everybody have a good day or night, and I hope to see you sometime then. Bye bye.